everyone, and welcome back to Wednesdays with Wallis Psychic Medium. I am so thrilled to be back and to see you all again. I'm shuffling my pack of cards at the moment because I want to do a reading first off today around the future of the planet or the future of the world. I just want to pull out some cards in relation to that today because that's what's come to me. So before I get into that, though, I would love to thank you all for the wonderful comments. I'm just always so thrilled. Oh, I'm so thrilled and so heartfelt, all the wonderful things you just say. Not the people who troll and say silly things, but to all of you who I encourage to share things with me, and I do, please share with me, because I do love to hear the things that you say, and even though I may not be able to answer them all, I definitely think about them and I put them in a really good place for you, and I bless you with lots and lots and lots of blessings. Now, today, before I go any further, I do pick things out, as you know, every week. I try and pick out people who I can do a reading for. It's just a random thing. There's a lot of comments, so I just go through, randomly pick out some people. And I also like to comment, just a comment on some of those things that are said, or if somebody asks me for particular information or that sort of thing, I like to go through that as well, look at the time, so that I don't take you into boredom and bore you out of your minds. Okay, there's a lady who inquired this week about more information about EFT. Well, tapping is EFT, energy frequency transfer, and that's all about using the meridian in the body to tap on various areas, and it's incredibly effective. It might seem a very simple thing, and what the hell is this doing? But it's a very, very simple technique and very, very effective for post-traumatic stress, for other types of stress, for that. Oh, it's wonderful for all those things. And it's wonderful for problems that we might have, things that we're focusing on. We can do some tapping onto that. Now, if you go onto the internet and just put in EFT or tapping, you're going to get a lot of different places and I want you to do what you're drawn to, rather than me saying, look, go here or go there or do this or do that. I am a great encourager for you picking out what it is that you're attracted to, going to whatever it is that comes for you. Okay, so I want you to Google that, tapping or EFT, and read up on that. And you may even find online a chart or the tapping points, and you could start off doing some simple tapping techniques for yourself. And I'm sure there are some free introductory webinars for tapping. I'm sure some of that is around as well. I haven't had time to Google it for you because I've been fairly busy I've been fairly busy this year, but I've certainly been very busy this last couple of weeks. And because I had an event going on this weekend that was very, very close to my heart. Because look, sorry, you have to look. I got married on Saturday. So I was very excited about that. But it's been a very, very full-on time for me, and difficult to give that my attention and focus on all of what I wanted to input to that, but also, what I want to input to your lives as well. So somebody had a go at me about rambling on. Well, I do ramble on a bit, but you shouldn't be here if you don't like all that. Probably best to go somewhere else, darlings. Okay, so tapping EFT, covered off on that. Rose, you mentioned, do I know much about tribal prophecies? Not a lot, but I am very, very drawn to it. I do have a guide that's a North American Indian. that came in full dress one time, which I was very skeptical of, but he's been around for a long, long time. And I do and have a soft spot for the Hopi Indians. And I believe that the saying, "We are the ones that we've been waiting for," which I truly, truly love, is a Hopi Indian prophecy. So if you're on air this week, you can make some comments about that for me, Rose. That would be wonderful. But I took all that on board, and I think that's a wonderful, wonderful thing. Joy, thank you for comments on my clothes when you said, "I love the colour you've got on." I'm just moving around a little bit to get more comfy to do these readings. But you made a comment on the clothes that I had on, that colour I had on last week, which was, somebody made it, not on air, but somebody outside of on air made a comment about, me being, looking like a canary or some little bird or something. True, that's true. That's exactly what the colour is, and it's absolutely beautiful. And yes, Joy, I love it too. Okay, somebody said, I love the cards, and I don't know whether that's one of the people that has bought cards, because I couldn't quite determine that only from what you were saying. So I'll assume that you've purchased a pack of the Soul Wisdom Oracle cards. Thank you for the positive comment and all of that. Okay, Nick from the House of Prayer, Pennsylvania. Thank you, Nick. I noticed you've been on a couple of times, darling. Really, really appreciate you being there, and it's fabulous. Thank you so much. Now, the first thing I'm going to do, and everybody will be going, "Oh, she rambles on and raves," is before I do some one card readings for 3 people I picked out, I'm going to actually do a little reading today on the future of the planet, because what's been coming for me is this whole thing about us moving from this 3rd dimension to the 5th dimension, and what's going to be happening in that, and this heightened intuition and the shift in priorities and unity consciousness, timelessness and synchronicity, healing and transformation. All of that sort of thing is on the up and up, darlings. It's really, really moving ahead. Now, I've just about shuffled the dots off these cards. Well, there's no dots on them, but I've just about shuffled them, and I'm going to just spread them out here first in a little packs, get that one over there, and then I'm going to put them back together, and then I'm going to just put out some cards. Not surprising, that we have. I'll show you the cards in a minute. Oh, beautiful, 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 beautiful. Oh, love it, love it, love it. Okay, before I put some more cards on top of these cards, I'm going to show you what I drew out today. And the first card that came out was the High Priestess. This is feminine energy. Has she been raving on about feminine energy lately? Absolutely. This is the energy that's going to carry the world and the planet into the future, the feminine energy. And that's not only for the female, it's the feminine energy, and there are men around that have a wonderful feminine energy as well. So I don't want to leave you guys out, or you blokes out. The feminine energy is the thing, though. That's what's going to carry us into the successful transformation of the planet. That came out. The card that came out was this one here. Not surprising, is it? All this warring and all this stuff going on. And what's coming to me is many of us wanting to walk away from it. We actually almost want to blank ourselves off, walk away from it. We don't want anything to do with it, although we know that we live in the world as it is, and walking away from it totally is not a priority, is not a possibility. We can't just close our eyes and walk away. We can't, but we can limit what we watch, how much we take in, and what we take in, and go in search of what I'm getting. Thank you. What I'm getting is, whilst we feel like walking away from all this warring and all this anger and all this stuff. I get great anger and warring off this card. But instead of walking away from it, search out those things that are better for your life. An example of that is this. I'll tell you the story in a minute, but so don't do that. No, I'll tell you the story now. A friend of mine had a stroke at Christmas time. Lovely, gorgeous, gorgeous lady. And she already has some other health issues that are fairly serious. And but she has the most wonderful, fabulous attitude about life. And I'm encouraging us all to follow her suit and have an amazing attitude about our own lives. And her attitude about her life is that, and when she had the stroke, it didn't take away things that it could have, but it did take away 50% of her sight. And she won't be able to drive her car anymore, and that's been fairly important to her, or very important to her. So she's now not as mobile as she was in that particular way, although she did say to me that she'd gone and bought herself a wheelchair, a little, a drivable wheelchair to get around in. And as she said, she'll sell her car and that'll pay for a lot of Uber rides. What a wonderful attitude. And she's struggling a little bit with some other things, but she's got 3 big trips for herself on the horizon. She's worked very, very hard, this lady, in her life, made an amazing success of herself. And, she's looking at it all going, I still want to live as much the way that I'm used to living. So she said to me, Wallis, I'm going to find ways to deal with these things that have happened and still live the life that I enjoy living. Is that a good lesson? So the card, I'm saying about this card, find ways that give you joy and find things that give you joy and meaning in your life. Don't get caught up in the doom and gloom of it. You don't have to dive into the doom and gloom. You can dive into a better approach about it, how to go on with your life and live your life joyously in the midst of all this happening. And I can promise you that has an effect on the planet. This card here is cups. It's emotional. It's all about, those sorts of things. And it's a it's a positive card. I'm going to read it as positive. Some people don't read this card as positive, but I'm reading it as a very, very positive card when I put it with this world card. We were talking about the future with the world. Well, the world came out. What is the world card about? It's about the unfolding of all. It's about the unfolding of everything. It's about, in a way, us being, I suppose, almost naked in the world, but it's about, you don't read it literally. The card is about wonderful, wonderful outcomes. So we're heading for great outcomes. It might be a bit of a rocky road. It might be a bit tumultuous for us. Still got a bit of a ways to go. It's got its ups and downs, no doubt about that. But it has a positive, wonderful outcome. The star is about here being in both worlds. The star to me always represents this thing about 1 foot on the ground and 1 foot in the spiritual world. And that is where we're all at. We're all there at this moment. We're all working to maintain our equilibrium, trying to stay in our lives and focused and getting on with life, but we're also being nudged into this area of transition from the 3rd dimension to the 5th. We'll talk about that in a minute. The other card that came out is this card here. This card here is the card of growth. This is about growing, but it's also a card about travel. It's just about traveling, and we are traveling. Those of us that may not be getting on aeroplanes or in cars or on bikes or whatever, traveling to other destinations, we are traveling from one dimension to the next. So if I read it in relation to what I'm saying about the world at the moment, then, I'm saying that we are traveling and in transition for the world. We are looking at transition. Okay. I put out some more cards. I put out this one. This card I love. This is about strength. We sure as heck need it, don't we, at this point of time? We need the strength. We need what is coming. We need the strength and the resilience to cope with those sorts of things and to be present to them and to be who we are. What's coming for me is that, they're saying to be, make sure you tell people to be who they are, to be their unique selves. I want you to be who you are and be your unique you, okay? I don't want you listening to lots of other people. I want you being who you are. In general, the cards that have come out are cards that have come out across the top of the reading I've been doing about the world, is this whole area of transition. And to me, this card is a wonderful card. I love this card. This card is about, personal wealth. This is about personally being abundant. So in this world, this is a time to be personally abundant. And that not only means money, but it means being personally abundant in yourself, abundant of spirit, abundant in the things that you do and say. Okay. When you're talking to people, talk to people abundantly, will you? That's what's coming for me. Talk to people in abundant ways. Say things that depict a life where it's abundant. Even if right now you might be in a position where you don't feel very abundant, remember that the universe is an abundant universe. It doesn't run out of anything. Never mind about all the stuff you read or the things that have said. We don't live in a universe where we're short of things or we're running out. And we're certainly not running out of ideas. So if you think that we're running out of, power, or we're running out of this, or we're running out of that, no, we're not, because the universe has provided us with, we are more powerful than you could imagine. The universe has provided us with all the answers to everything. And you will see in the future, we're looking at a world where in the future we're going to see amazing things taking place. Technology is going to take another big leap. We're going to be looking at new and wonderful modalities, new things, new businesses that haven't even been thought of in the past, around energy, around sound therapy, as I've been saying for weeks. All these things are huge growth areas as the future of this planet. We're going to be living in a planet that is very different than the one that we live in right now. And why is it going to be so different? It's going to be very different because as we move from the third dimension to the fifth, we will be demanding different things. We will be demanding we will be using our heightened intuition. We'll be living on a planet where we're using more of our unity consciousness. We'll have shifts in priorities. So we're looking for new and different things. And believe it, when we look for different things, when humanity looks for different things, then that consciousness brings different things. So I want you to believe that. So that's why I'm encouraging you to live and be part of, you know, a transformation where you believe that what you need is coming. Okay, so I always say to people when we think about, I think about how much has happened in medicine in the last whatever years, 50 years, 100 years. When we look at medicine and how far we've come and what we have available today. You know, I think I said this a while ago. You know, some years ago when you had your gallbladder out, you know, it was a huge big incision where they took the gallbladder. I had my gallbladder out, you know, a very few short years ago, and, you know, they extracted it through the belly button. And there was none of those incisions and none of that, a couple of little spots. But how different. A few years ago, when you looked at, you know, having, you know, knee replacements and things like that, it was, you know, it was a bit hit and miss. Now it's all done with big robotics, and it's done with all sorts of things that are absolutely precise and precision. I went back and looked at my x-rays after I'd had my knee done, and I just did the thing at the 6-month mark and looked at the x-rays and things on my knee, and you know, it's just amazing. I'm amazed. So I want you to know that amazing and wonderful things are going to take place in the area of medicine as well. The future holds great things for us, nothing to be in doom and gloom about, but that will be pushed along largely by all of us. It'll be pushed along by what we know and what we believe and what we see. Okay, I'm going to do, so does that make sense? I hope it makes sense to you, because, you know, doing a world reading, I don't get into the doom and gloom. Somebody criticised me recently and said, when are you going to talk about, you know, Biden and Trump and la, la, la? And I thought, never. You're in the wrong place. Go to some of those other people who harp and go on about it. That's not me. That's not what this channel's about. And I don't want that for you either. Look, let me just say this to you, and I want you to get this, really get it. What you focus on multiplies. You get that? What you focus on multiplies. If you're only focusing on all the problems in the world, that's all you'll get, that's all you'll see. And you might say to me, but that's true, it's happening. They may be fighting over here, or warring over here, or having their say over here. But what are you going to be focused on? That's them. What are you going to be focused on? That's my question to you. I want to ask you what you're going to be focused on. Okay, Laurie Wambiki, is it? Who said about your Aunt Roseanne? God love you, your Aunt Roseanne. She sounds wonderful. And thank you for, you know, making that comparison. Oh, a couple of cards came out. I'll give those to you in a minute. But Aunt Roseanne, how fabulous. Thank you. Thank you for your wonderful comments. Now, 2 things have come out for you. These 2 cards, okay? This card here, I'm going to read it as all you wish for, you can have, okay? All you wish for, you can have. So I don't know what it is that's on your mind. I don't know what you're going through, and I don't know what you wish would happen in your life, but all you wish for, you can have. Now, this card over here says to me and is yelling out at me, learning some new skills. Are you thinking about learning some new skills? Have you just recently learned some new skills? Are you mulling over learning some new skills? Doing a course, going back to school, doing something? Are you? Give me some comments back on this, because this, what's coming for me is you are, okay? All you wish for, you can have. This is coming up for me, learning some new skills, thinking about learning some new skills If that's what you're thinking about and that's what you're drawn to, do it. Okay, do it. Thank you. Okay, Laurie. Now, Denise, you're in Philadelphia, Philly. Denise Trost. Thank you, Denise, for your comments. Thank you for tuning in. I picked you out. I'm going to do a one-card reading. And this week I'm using, and I was drawn to, the Rider-Waite pack. And I haven't been using my own Soul Wisdom Oracle cards this week. I picked these up and thought, yep, they're the cards this week. So I'm going to do a one-card reading for you as well, darling. Now, I may, what have I got? Yeah, got a little bit of time. Okay, I may also, pull something out over top of that. Oh, okay. Whoa. Okay. All right. I did get a card, and I'm going to go with that, and I might put something out over top of it. Okay. What's going on, Denise? What's going on for you in your life? Okay. Okay, what I'm getting, this is the Tower card. This card is about tearing down old structures. Now, in our life, when this card comes, it often brings with it this shift. Okay, we're dismantling. Think about it. Think about it as an old building. Saying you're old, I don't know how old you are, but think about this as an old building. And we're dismantling the old building. We're pulling it down. But we're not throwing the baby out with the bathwater. We're not totally tearing the whole thing apart, okay? We're not. What we're doing is we're pulling down the structure, and we're putting aside and saving the things of value and the things that are worthwhile from that structure. That's what I'm being told by them. Tearing down of old structures, changes around you, big changes around you. This card's about big changes, darling. What's going on in your life? What's happening? Only share what you feel you want to share. You don't have to say anything, but if you want to share something, you can. Don't share lots of personal things or whatever. I'm not encouraging you to do that, but if you want to have a little share on this being appropriate for you, I'd love to hear from you. Okay. Now, the other card I'm going to do a reading for, and I'm hoping that the card they bring for me and they pull out of the pack, is D. Turk. You asked me about a house. You said, will I be buying a house this year, or will I be buying a house next year? I'm doing a little shuffle for you. I'm going to see what comes. You're obviously thinking about, whoa, okay, all right. Okay. You've got a bit of input going on around you, haven't you, darling? You've got an older person and a younger person. You've got some people around you. Maybe this younger person or this person has got young energies, we'll say that. And maybe that person's a grandson. Maybe a grandson. You might have a grandson who's, trying to give you some advice on, the market and, all of those things that the young people like to do. They like to think they've got a handle on it all. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. But they certainly like to share that. And you've also got this man around you. He's a smart man. Maybe he's a redhead or something. That's what I'm getting. Anyway, this fellow around you, he's a smart fellow, and he's giving you some advice as well. But the problem with the advice that you're getting, darling, pull this out. The problem with the advice that you're getting, you've got a lot of advice around you, haven't you? Oh, God. Here we go. Here's the cards I pulled for you, darling. Now, here's what I'm getting. All these cards. See all these cards? See all these cards? All these cards are about people around you giving you feedback. So The reason you wrote in your post about it was because you're confused, very confused. What do you want to do? What I always come back to, they always say to me, come back to the beginning, come back to center. All these opinions are all good. They're all good, maybe not so good, but opinions are opinions. You get what I mean. You know what I'm getting at. All these opinions are opinions, but I want you to go back to the beginning. I want you to go back to the first thought around the house. I want you to go back and think about, what do you want? What did you want? When you first started out, when did you want to buy that house? Because you had an initial feeling about it, and then you went off and you shared it with a whole lot of people, didn't you, darling? And then when you got all their feedback, you got confused. That's what I'm getting, and I'm going to go with that. You can comment back about it if you want, but I think that's what's been happening. I believe that's what's been happening. That's what I'm getting, all right? I'm getting this whole thing. You knew what you wanted. You went off and decided to share it with a number of people, younger ones and a little bit older. You wanted to share that with someone or a few people, and they all gave you different feedback. Some of that was based on market analysis. Some of it was based on, maybe, economics and all sorts of other particular things that might be going on around you. I don't know where you are, but you got all confused. You didn't know where the hell you were going then. You didn't know whether you were Arthur or bloody Martha. So what I'm saying to you, I want you to go back and think about what you originally wanted, sweetheart, because your intuition told you what you wanted and you didn't listen to it. I want you to go back now and I want you to listen to it, all right? Before we go, I'm going to just do a quick shuffle of these cards here, these wonderful soul cards. They're not mine, they're soul coaching cards by Denise Lynn, and I had to think there for a minute, by Denise Lynn, but they're beautiful cards and I do like to read them, and I do like when I get a chance to pull one out. I've gone over time, but that's all right. You don't mind, do you, darlings? Somebody will have a say about it, but really at the end of the day, darlings, we've all got it. There's one that's just flipped itself over. I love it when that happens. Doesn't surprise me at all. Love, love, love. Oh, it's all about, pardon me, all those energies. It's what we've been talking about today. It's called power, empowerment, power. This is about, I am a radiant, glorious, powerful being. Isn't that what we've been talking about today? About us being powerful, about being more powerful than we could ever comprehend or know. You are all powerful and amazing. Can you go with that? Stop listening to other people, and the feminine energy will carry the world through to happy ending. It'll be an amazing time for this transition. And if we don't focus on all the baddies and all the stuff and go, we've got to all save our pennies, we've got to do this, we've got to do that. As I said to someone this morning, we live in an abundant universe. There's no shortage. There's no shortage of money. There's no shortage of anything. That's not the world we live in. We're living in an abundant universe. We chose to come and live in the places that we chose to live in, for those things there that help us grow. Get that? I don't want to talk any more about that today, but it's about power. It's about being in our own power, standing in our own power, being the amazing beings that we are. And I'm going to encourage you to spend this next week in an amazing and wonderful space. I am so thrilled to have had this time with you. You're amazing, and I look forward to hearing all your comments. I just love it so much. I love, love, love what I do, and I love the comments that you give, and it's just fabulous. Love it. And I look forward to hearing all your comments. I'm getting off now because I've rambled on too much, as I do from time to time, but I'm pretty excited about life at the moment, and I want you to be excited about it as well. Mwah. Blessings from my heart to yours. You go with me as you always do when I leave here. I don't stop thinking about you. I go over your comments, and I love you. Mwah. Love, love, love. Talk soon. Don't forget to subscribe, because the dollars that come from the finally getting some, YouTube input to us, and those ads that they run, which they tell me we don't get anything for unless people actually at least persevere and see them through to the end. You don't have to buy whatever they're talking about, but those dollars, that bit of things that comes from all that, helps us do what we do, and helps maintain the channel. And money's an energy, and we must have the flow and believe it, otherwise we stifle ourselves. Thanks for listening. We'll talk about that another time. Mwah. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the button below. Bye for now.